With trade rumors continuing to circulate around the New York Rangers, a new report has revealed that Chris Drury may not only be considering a player personnel change, but perhaps a coaching change, and the possible replacement has been named and will shock Rangers fans. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And that's right, your eyes have not deceived you. It seems as if a coaching change now could be imminent for the New York Rangers, which is very interesting considering the last week that the Rangers have had, with Chris Drury coming out on Monday morning stating that a shakeup is also imminent, or they're looking to make some trades. And I thought this was very interesting from Arthur Staple. And there's a lot of stories about the New York Rangers right now because clearly they're struggling. It's a 5-game losing streak. They have an opportunity to redeem themselves this evening, but obviously not a great performance and showing against the Philadelphia Flyers last night. But Arthur Staple had a great article in The Athletic about the fallout from this last week and how some players are disgruntled with the fact that Chris Drury came out and said this. Apparently, players around the league and former players have chimed in and said that they don't agree with the way that Chris Drury went about this. I have to disagree. I think that, Chris Drury coming out and saying this was, a possible wake-up call for the team. I thought it was really going to, galvanize the team to a degree, but it looks like so far it's done the complete opposite of that. So I guess, they may be right, but I do think that, at the time, what Chris Drury did was a good thing. The Rangers were slipping through the cracks there, and they continue to do that. So they have to get back to playing more sustainable hockey and not relying on their goaltenders. But anyway, from Arthur Staple, this is everything he's hearing as of late. And one little part of the article caught my eye, and is the coach safe? And he went into Peter Laviolette, and since there's an appetite for change with the Rangers, it's safe to say, or ask the question at least, is Peter Laviolette safe? And obviously, he's coming off a fantastic season last year. They went to the Eastern Conference Final. They won the President's Trophy. There's not much more you can ask besides, obviously, winning the Stanley Cup, the ultimate goal. But Laviolette, I don't know if it's the coach at this point. I think very highly of Gerard Gallant as well. And I think he's a very, very good coach. And if you compare their records, they have very similar records, and they did very good things with the New York Rangers. And, I think there was an appetite for change just, 2 years ago at this point with Gallant. Obviously, he ended up getting fired. We know that Gallant notoriously will go like team to team for 2 years, kind of galvanize that team. They'll have like a good year or two, and then he's kind of run his course, and his message has run its course, right? So we know that Laviolette coming in, again, I think Laviolette's a very good coach, but there is cause for concern with some of his comments. We'll get to that later in the video as well. But I think, it begs the question, is he on the hot seat now as well? Could he be on the way out? And the last little part of this article is very interesting, and that is the fate of Pittsburgh Penguins coach Mike Sullivan, who's been around for almost a decade at this point as the coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And obviously Pittsburgh, it looks like they want to do a full sale, fire sale, and to get rid of, obviously their top players if possible. Kyle Dubas is working the phones on that, it seems. Everyone's available except for Sidney Crosby, and Mike Sullivan could be included in that. And obviously Mike Sullivan was Drury's first coach choice in the 2021 offseason, but obviously they hired Gerard Gallant at the time. And if Sullivan, is out of work when the 2024-25 season ends, or maybe even before that, Pittsburgh is not playing great, don't be surprised if the Rangers do everything they can to bring him to New York. So this could be a situation where if the New York Rangers continue to play the way that they're playing, and, mid-season Mike Sullivan is let go, I could see a coaching change, similarly to obviously the Boston Bruins letting Jim Montgomery go and him being scooped up right away by the St. Louis Blues. I could see a similar situation like that happening here, whether it be in season or at the end of the season. It's very interesting. I think Peter Laviolette's a great coach. I really do. Sometimes, coaches' messages get stale. I think this is less about Peter Laviolette and more about the team, I think, and the dynamic of the team right now. You wanted to trade your captain this offseason. You couldn't pull the trigger. There was, leaks about him potentially being moved. When he got wind of those leaks, he modified his no trade list. to obviously block the trade to the Detroit Red Wings. I think that was a failure there alone. And then you come into the season with the same captain, right? And everything's kind of falling apart right now. He seems kind of checked out. We talked about it in a video yesterday. He seems kind of checked out. And the rest of the team is kind of following suit because that is your captain. There's guys like Zibanejad who could be playing a lot better who are not. They do not look like they're playing with any gumption or effort right now. And it's just a recipe for disaster. So I think it all started last offseason as well. And I think that's very interesting. And again, you could look at Peter Laviolette's record, even Gerard Gallant's record as a head coach in the NHL. I wouldn't say they're necessarily similar, but at least with the New York Rangers, yes, they are quite similar, very similar. So I think there is absolutely something to that I think it's more about the team dynamic right now than it is about the coach. So I wouldn't be too quick to fire Peter Laviolette, but I do see, if an opportunity arises mid-season where Mike Sullivan becomes available, I absolutely see Chris Drury jumping all over that. So I think that's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on. Pittsburgh is not playing great. So we'll just keep an eye on that. And one last thing I wanted to get into before we move off Peter Laviolette entirely is some of these quotes. And he goes, this was just yesterday. We need to be better. Everyone needs to be better inside the room. It's not good enough what we're doing. I don't think anybody is going to sit here and say it was good enough. No matter what question you want to ask, it's got to be better. It's 3 games in a row, 5 games in a row at this point. I think this quote is just a day or two old, where we're playing to a level and a standard that's not us and not what we work to be, not what we want to be. It's got to be better. Everyone has got to be better. And he even said, including himself as well, there's been numerous quotes about him saying that as well, and about the team, and the team's got to get to work. I do like some of the quotes out of Artemi Panarin recently about, having to put your head down and get to work. So I do like that. But again, the team's got to get going, and the leaders got to lead by example. That's the biggest thing to me right now. But some other interesting stuff in terms of injury updates as well. Laviolette was evasive when talking about Chytil this morning as well, and obviously his recovery from his upper body injury. And he repeated numerous times that he is day-to-day but skating, but still considered day-to-day. And when asked if he's cleared for full contact, he noted that they hadn't had a full practice in a while, which is true. But would he be if they practiced today? And obviously he said he's still day-to-day. So he's not giving much on that front whatsoever about Chytil. Some people are speculating that, obviously it's not a concussion, we know that, but some people are speculating maybe shoulder, jaw. We can speculate all we want. It's something with the upper body. We don't know exactly what. Seems like he's ready to go, but they need to get him into a practice, put him in some line rushes to see if he's ready to go. And hey, you know what? Right now, Brett Berard has played 2 really, really good games, so give him another shot as well. And Chytil will come back when he's ready, and I'm sure that's going to be sometime very soon, probably early next week. So we'll keep an eye on that. And lastly, to end on a Peter Laviolette thing, Vince Mercogliano asked Peter Laviolette why he's sticking with Miller and Trouba, which a lot of fans, and I've seen it in the comments and on Twitter, online, and social media, why are they running this pairing together? We don't understand it. And obviously they've been outscored 9-0 with a 31.46 shot share, which is terrible. And Laviolette went on to say it's 5 guys playing defense, and you can't necessarily pinpoint one person. They've played a lot together, played well together. Right now, that's where it's at. Now, see, that's just, you're being outscored 9-0. You're letting in a ton of goals. You're not scoring any goals when you're on the ice. I think he's right in that it's 5 guys playing defense, and the Rangers' problem is a team defense game, because obviously I think a lot of the time their centers are caught lacking in the defensive zone. I do absolutely agree with that. But in terms of that defense pair, I don't know. I really don't know about it. And a lot of people are also speculating that this could be the end for Peter Laviolette, because there are similar comments and obviously things that he's talking about in terms of pairings and defense that are similar to Gerard Gallant when he was let go as well. But let me know in the comments what you think of where the Rangers are right now. If Peter Laviolette, this could be the end for him as a Rangers head coach, maybe at the end of the season, maybe mid-season. If Mike Sullivan becomes available, I could see a situation where that does happen. Let me know what you think in the comments about that. And obviously, the injury updates. Hopefully, Chytil's back. I would assume sometime next week, but I think, a guy like Brett Berard right now being in the lineup, give him a couple more games. He's been playing pretty good. And obviously, scored his first NHL goal. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.